Have you ever wondered what would happen if, one day, insects became the dominant species on Earth? How would we live if these tiny creatures, with their overwhelming numbers and diversity, took over the planet? Imagine a world where bees, ants, mosquitoes, and butterflies are no longer just small creatures in the background, but the rulers of the Earth, controlling ecosystems, resources, and even influencing the lives of every other species. How would everything change? Would our world still be recognizable, or would it be entirely different? Let's explore this thought experiment in today's What If scenario. What if insects became the dominant species on Earth? Type Y to continue to the next part. We all know that insects are the most diverse and abundant group of animals on Earth. They are found in almost every environment, from the lush rainforests to the dry deserts, from the ocean depths to the highest mountains. This is not by chance, but rather the result of millions of years of evolution and perfect adaptation to their environment. Insects such as bees, ants, butterflies, and flies have developed incredibly efficient survival strategies that have allowed them to thrive and multiply. But what would happen if insects, instead of being the tiny, invisible creatures we often overlook, became the dominant species? Could they create complex systems of governance, control resources, and influence the relationships between all other species on Earth? What if we lived in a world where insects were the rulers of the planet, determining the allocation of resources, habitats, and even the relationships between species? In this world, humans might not be the apex species anymore. Instead, we could be living under the control of these small but incredibly powerful beings. Insects might not just survive. They might thrive and organize the planet in a way completely different from how we know it now. The Earth's future could be shaped by how insects evolve and utilize their newfound power. The fascinating part is, insects already possess remarkable abilities. Ants, for example, can build massive colonies and carry hundreds of times their body weight. Bees can communicate through intricate chemical signals, controlling the behavior of entire colonies. Butterflies migrate thousands of miles, while mosquitoes, with their ongoing evolution, have found ways to survive and spread across the globe. Imagine a world where insects, armed with these extraordinary abilities, use them to establish a powerful system of leadership and governance, not just surviving, but thriving and shaping Earth in an entirely new way. If insects became the dominant species on Earth, the consequences would be far-reaching and transformative, affecting both the natural world and human society. These consequences could be both positive and negative, and they would alter the way we live, interact with the environment, and view our place on the planet. Positive consequences: stabilizing ecosystems. Insects already play an essential role in stabilizing ecosystems. They are critical pollinators for millions of plants, ensuring the reproduction of crops and wild flora. If insects took over, they might be able to manage these processes even more effectively. For instance, bees could take charge of pollinating not only plants, but entire ecosystems, ensuring that the Earth's vegetation thrives and sustains biodiversity at even larger scales. Efficient waste management. Insects like ants and beetles are nature's cleanup crew. They break down organic material, turning waste into fertile soil. If insects were the ruling species, their ability to decompose and recycle organic matter could vastly improve the health of the planet's soil, making ecosystems more sustainable and reducing waste that humans have struggled to manage. Biodiversity preservation. The overwhelming presence and adaptability of insects could actually help preserve biodiversity. Through their natural processes, they could maintain a balance in the food chain, preventing the overpopulation of certain species that could otherwise threaten ecosystems. Insects are often keystone species, meaning their role is crucial in maintaining the structure of their environments, and their dominance might ensure the thriving of many other species. Negative consequences. Disruption of the food chain. If insects became the dominant species, they could alter the food chain significantly. Larger animals and humans, once at the top of the food pyramid, might find themselves at the mercy of insects or in direct competition with them for resources. Insects' rapid reproduction and their ability to adapt could make it difficult for larger species, including humans, to maintain their place in the ecosystem. Health risks. Insects, particularly mosquitoes, are well known for spreading diseases like malaria, Zika virus, and dengue. If insects were the ruling species, we might see a dramatic increase in the spread of insect-borne diseases. The control that insects have over the environment could mean an increased risk of pandemics that affect humans, animals, and even plants. Loss of human autonomy. In a world controlled by insects, human beings might no longer be the masters of their destiny. Insects could regulate the use of resources, control the climate through their activities, and even dictate the locations where humans can live. Imagine being relegated to small, controlled zones, with insects managing the larger ecosystems and habitats. The concept of human independence and dominion over Earth could be a thing of the past. In summary, the consequences of insects becoming the dominant species would radically change the Earth's ecosystems and human society. While there would be some benefits in terms of ecosystem stabilization and waste management, the challenges posed by their rapid reproduction, dominance, and potential for disease spread could make life difficult for humans. It would also raise questions about our role on the planet and our relationship with the natural world. To better visualize this world, let's imagine a day in a future where insects have taken over. One morning, you wake up and look out the window. The scenery has completely changed. Enormous swarms of butterflies fill the sky, creating clouds of vibrant color. Bees, once small and overlooked, now soar through the air at incredible speeds, forming massive swarms that serve as the ruling force of the planet's ecosystem. When you step outside, you see that an ant colony is no longer just a small mound of dirt by the sidewalk. It has evolved into a full-fledged underground city, with ants of all sizes working in perfect harmony. These ants are not only workers, but also strategists, builders, and leaders of this new insect-led world. They move with purpose, coordinating vast projects and controlling the land around them. In a nearby forest, mosquitoes, once seen as a nuisance, have now become organized in swarms with a clear purpose. Rather than being a threat to humans, they have become an integral part of the natural order, controlling the spread of disease and maintaining balance in ecosystems. The once dangerous creatures are now a crucial part of maintaining the delicate web of life. But as you walk deeper into this transformed world, you begin to see that the power of insects has turned everything upside down. Human settlements are now relegated to small, protected zones. Buildings, once towering symbols of human achievement, now lie in ruins, overtaken by the sprawling, intricate systems of insect communities. You realize that humans are no longer at the top of the food chain. Instead, we are now part of a system where we must coexist with our insect overlords. Some humans have adapted, learning to live under the rules of the insects, while others still try to fight for dominance, struggling to reclaim their place in this new world. This scenario paints a picture of a world where insects, once tiny and overlooked, have become the powerful force that shapes Earth's future. Their ability to organize, adapt, and dominate the environment has placed them at the top of the food chain, while humans must now learn to navigate this new insect-controlled world. To further solidify the possibility of insects becoming the dominant species on Earth, Let's explore some scientific arguments and logical reasons that could support this hypothesis. These points illustrate how the evolutionary advantages of insects could allow them to rise to dominance. Insects are incredibly resilient. Insects have been around for hundreds of millions of years. Their survival through multiple mass extinction events proves their extraordinary resilience. While other species, including large mammals, have come and gone, insects have continued to thrive. For example, after the asteroid impact that wiped out the dinosaurs, insects quickly filled ecological niches left vacant. This resilience, paired with their ability to rapidly evolve, would make insects prime candidates for becoming the dominant species should environmental conditions shift. Diversity and adaptability. There are more than 10 million species of insects, accounting for about 80% of all known animal species. This staggering diversity means that insects are incredibly adaptable to changing environments. If environmental conditions became more challenging for mammals or other larger species, insects, with their small size and diverse physiological traits, could quickly adjust to new habitats, temperatures, and food sources. Their adaptability is one of the key reasons insects could dominate in a shifting world. Incredible reproductive capacity. Many species of insects, like ants, mosquitoes, and flies, have high reproductive rates. Some can lay hundreds of eggs in a single breeding cycle, allowing their populations to grow rapidly. Insects can also reproduce in various environments, from deep underground to the surface of the water. This high reproductive rate would give insects a significant advantage in any scenario, where rapid population growth and resource exploitation are needed to secure dominance. Efficient use of resources. Insects are highly efficient in their use of resources. They can survive on small amounts of food and water, and are capable of breaking down organic material to convert it into energy. For instance, ants and beetles decompose dead plant and animal matter, turning waste into fertile soil. Bees and butterflies, as pollinators, play a crucial role in maintaining the health of ecosystems. If insects became the dominant species, their ability to efficiently utilize resources could enable them to control and optimize the planet's ecosystems. Complex social systems. Some insect species, such as ants, bees, and termites, already have highly complex social structures. These insects live in large colonies or hives with well-defined roles: workers, queens, soldiers, and drones. This sophisticated division of labor allows for highly effective cooperation, enabling them to build large, organized societies that can manage vast resources. If these social systems expanded and adapted to larger scales, insects could create a world where cooperation and efficiency were the primary principles governing society, potentially even rivaling human civilization in terms of organizational complexity. Ability to alter their environments. Many insects have the ability to alter their environment to suit their needs. For example, ants construct massive underground nests with sophisticated ventilation systems. Termites can break down wood and turn it into habitats. Bees build complex hives with precise geometry. If insects took over as the dominant species, they would likely be able to manipulate the environment on an even larger scale, changing ecosystems to suit their needs and potentially regulating the entire planet's atmosphere, temperature, and resources. Given these evolutionary advantages: resilience, diversity, reproductive capacity, resource efficiency, complex social systems, and environmental manipulation, it is entirely plausible that insects could rise to become the dominant force on Earth, potentially surpassing humans in influence and control over the planet. As we consider the possibility of insects becoming the dominant species, there are several sub-scenarios and expanded situations that can help us understand the broader impact of such a shift. These scenarios allow us to imagine various outcomes and how they could reshape the world as we know it. 1. A new world order with insect governance. Imagine that, over time, insects develop a system of governance where they not only control resources, but also make decisions on behalf of the planet. They could form massive networks of communication and influence, similar to how ants and bees communicate and organize. This insect-driven society could prioritize efficiency, resource conservation, and ecological balance, creating a world that is far more sustainable than the current human-dominated one. Would this new form of governance be better than human-led politics? Could we, as humans, learn from the insect societies and adopt their methods of cooperation and ecological stewardship? Or would this new order be too rigid and authoritarian for human beings to tolerate? 2. Humans in a subordinate role. In this scenario, humans might have to take on a much smaller role in the grand scheme of things. We could find ourselves relegated to smaller regions, possibly living in enclaves or controlled environments, where our activities would be heavily regulated by insects. These zones might be designed to keep humans safe from the dominance of insects, but also restrict our movement, freedoms, and access to resources. In such a world, the concept of human progress, as we know it, could cease to exist, and we might struggle to find our place in this new hierarchy. The question that arises: would humans accept their new status as secondary inhabitants on Earth? Or would there be resistance, rebellion, or attempts to reclaim power? 3. Insects and technology. What if insects, through their rapid evolution, develop their own forms of technology? Insects like ants, with their ability to cooperate and build intricate tunnels, could perhaps develop their own infrastructure. Bees, with their ability to navigate and communicate through complex signaling systems, might create advanced methods of environmental control. This technological shift could be driven not by human innovation, but by the natural capabilities of insects. Could this new form of insect-driven technology change the planet's landscape? Could these technological advancements be a force for good, improving sustainability and resource management? Or would they be used to enforce their dominance over all other species, including humans? 4. Climate control by insects. Insects have the potential to manipulate their environment, and this might extend to controlling the climate. Ants can regulate the temperature of their nests by adjusting the airflow and managing the heat distribution within their colonies. If insects took control of the Earth, could they extend this capability to the global scale? They could potentially stabilize the climate, regulate ecosystems, and even mitigate the effects of global warming. However, this could also come with unintended consequences. Would humans have a say in how the Earth's climate is managed? Or would we be at the mercy of the insect's ecological control? And what happens if the insect's efforts lead to an imbalance in the environment, causing harm to certain species, including us? 5. Interspecies conflict. Not all insects would agree on how Earth should be ruled. Just as humans have different political factions, insects could have their own conflicts. Imagine a scenario where ant colonies clash with beehives, or termites go to war with locusts. This internal strife could significantly alter the dynamics of insect dominance. Would humans be drawn into these insect wars? Or could we remain passive observers as the insect world fights for supremacy over territory and resources? Such conflicts would add a layer of unpredictability to the insect-led Earth, where survival would not only depend on the species' ability to adapt, but also on their ability to navigate interspecies conflicts. 6. A return to human ascendancy. In a more dramatic twist, imagine that humans, having been relegated to secondary status by the insects, begin to adapt to the insect world. Through innovation, science, and technology, humans find ways to combat the insect dominance, perhaps developing immunity to insect-borne diseases or creating insect-repelling technologies. We could begin to reclaim our territory, possibly with the help of genetically modified organisms or advanced robotics, and fight for our place at the top of the food chain once again. This scenario could lead to an epic battle for dominance between humans and insects, with unpredictable outcomes that could forever reshape the future of Earth. These sub-scenarios allow us to explore the vast potential consequences of a world where insects are the dominant species. The possibilities are vast, and each scenario could unfold in unexpected ways, depending on the balance of power, resources, and relationships between species. Whether insects would create a utopia of ecological balance or an authoritarian regime of control, or if humans would ultimately reclaim their place, remains an open question. As we delve deeper into the idea of insects becoming the dominant species, several thought-provoking questions and unexpected plot twists arise. These questions challenge us to reconsider the roles we play on Earth and provoke deeper reflection on the limits of human control, the power of nature, and the unpredictability of the future. 1. Could insects achieve a form of intelligence beyond what we imagine? Insects have evolved over millions of years with highly specialized skills. Some species of ants can create complex underground civilizations, while bees have sophisticated communication systems using pheromones. But what if, in their drive for survival and dominance, insects evolved intelligence far beyond what we currently perceive? Could they develop problem-solving abilities, strategies for conflict resolution, and even emotional intelligence? What would happen if insects began to rival human cognition? And what kind of civilization would they create based on this newfound intelligence? 2. Would humans be able to outwit their insect overlords? Humans are known for their creativity, ingenuity, and ability to adapt. But in a world where insects dominate, would we still be able to outsmart them as we once did with larger animals? Could we use our technology to reclaim control of the planet? Or would we find ourselves constantly battling against the overwhelming strength and numbers of insects? In this scenario, the struggle between humans and insects could turn into an epic game of strategy, where the balance of power continually shifts. 3. What would the ecosystem look like without human influence? In a world dominated by insects, many species, including humans, would have to adapt or face extinction. This raises the question, without human interference, what would Earth's ecosystems look like in their natural state? Would insects, left to their own devices, bring about an era of environmental recovery, restoring balance to ecosystems that human activity has disrupted? Or would their unchecked growth and power lead to ecological disasters, with insects overwhelming every other form of life on Earth? 4. Could insects create a global society? Insects have already demonstrated incredible organizational skills. Ants build vast underground colonies with complex systems for gathering food, defending the colony, and raising the young. Bees create intricate hives and communicate through precise dances and pheromone signals. If insects were to become the dominant species, could they form a unified global society, perhaps governed by a council of the most powerful colonies or hives? How would humans fit into this system? And would there be room for cooperation, or only subjugation? 5. What happens if humans and insects evolve together? Another fascinating scenario would be a world where humans and insects evolve together in a symbiotic relationship. Could we work alongside insects, using their abilities to enhance our own survival and understanding of the world? Perhaps through genetic engineering? We could even merge our biological traits with those of insects, gaining new abilities that would allow us to coexist in an insect-dominated world. Could this lead to a new era of cooperation between species? Or would it be an uncomfortable, forced alliance where both species struggle for dominance? 6. Could humans change the outcome? If insects became the dominant species, would humans simply fade into the background? Or could we change the outcome? What if we decided to radically alter our approach to the planet, learning from insects to create more sustainable, efficient societies? Could humans learn to live in harmony with nature, adopting strategies from insect societies, such as ants and bees, to govern our own civilization? Alternatively, what if we took a different path and fought back, using all of our technological advances to battle against insect domination? Would this lead to a dramatic clash of civilizations? These unexpected questions and twists in the narrative invite you to reflect on the power dynamics between species and the delicate balance required to sustain life on Earth. As we ponder the possibilities, we are reminded of the unpredictable nature of evolution, the interconnectedness of all life, and the role we play in shaping the future of the planet. As we wrap up this thought experiment of imagining a world where insects become the dominant species on Earth, we are left with many unanswered questions and profound lessons about our relationship with nature. Insects, with their diversity, adaptability, and incredible organizational abilities, have long been a vital part of Earth's ecosystems. They are the unsung heroes of nature, playing crucial roles in pollination, decomposition, and maintaining ecological balance. Their potential to become the dominant species may seem far-fetched, but it challenges us to rethink our place on this planet. The idea that such small, often overlooked creatures could shape the future of Earth forces us to examine how we humans impact the natural world, and how much control we really have over the planet's future. Through this exploration, we've seen that insects could bring both positive and negative consequences to the planet. On the one hand, their efficient use of resources and ability to stabilize ecosystems could lead to a more sustainable world. On the other hand, their rapid reproduction and potential to disrupt human life could bring challenges, including the spread of diseases and competition for resources. The key takeaway here is that no matter how advanced or powerful a species may be, the natural world remains unpredictable. What we perceive as weaknesses in certain species may turn out to be their greatest strengths in the face of global challenges. This also raises an important question. Are we, as humans, truly the masters of the Earth? Or are we just another species, vulnerable to the forces of nature and evolution? Perhaps the most profound lesson here is about adaptability and coexistence. The future of life on Earth doesn't have to be a battle for supremacy. Insects have demonstrated extraordinary abilities to work together, adapt to changing conditions, and thrive in diverse environments. Humans, too, can learn from these strategies, how to live more sustainably, how to cooperate with nature rather than dominate it, and how to adapt to changing environments. But there is also the question, would we be willing to embrace a new world order where we, the dominant species, are no longer at the top? Could we, in the face of overwhelming odds, learn to coexist with insects in a way that benefits all species, including ourselves? As we contemplate these possibilities, we must also reflect on the fragility of our position on Earth. Perhaps our time at the top is temporary, just as it has been for so many species throughout the history of life on this planet. The future is uncertain, and it is up to us to decide how we want to shape it. So let me leave you with this question. If we, as humans, are no longer the dominant species on Earth, what kind of world would you want to live in? Would you adapt to this new reality, learn from the creatures that rule the planet, and coexist in harmony? Or would you fight to reclaim your place as the Earth's rulers? The future of Earth may be out of our hands, but how we prepare for it, how we adapt, and what we learn along the way is entirely up to us. And with that, we conclude this exploration of a hypothetical world where insects dominate the Earth. Thank you for joining in this thought-provoking journey. Let's remember that the future of Earth is shaped not just by the actions of humans, but by all creatures, great and small.